1 month before his scheduled execution, a stunning new development could change the fate of a Texas death row inmate. James Broadnax was condemned for a double murder in Garland in 2008. But now his cousin and co-defendant, who was sentenced to life in prison without parole, says he was the shooter and not Broadnax. Fox 4's Shaun Rabb has been following this case that got national attention then and now. He joins us from the newsroom. Shaun.
Yeah, James Broadnax has a team of attorneys working for him from Dallas to D.C. to New York. And now in new filings, those attorneys argue this confession by his co-defendant cousin is new evidence that undermines the state's case for James Broadnax's conviction and death sentence, a case that took the breath of the nation and the idea that two men were killed for $2. In addition to that, my interview where both of them voluntarily told their story and their roles in this case, roles that with this confession now change. This was the crime scene outside a Garland Christian music recording studio in 2008. Stephen Swan and Matthew Butler were shot and killed during a robbery. The double murder shocked North Texas. James Broadnax, 19 at the time, and his cousin Demarius Cummings were arrested and charged with capital murder. I interviewed both in jail. Cummings showed remorse for the violent crime, adding he did not kill anyone. Broadnax, in an expletive-filled conversation, told the story and said he kind of regretted what he did. Here now is my report, interviewing both men, June 2008.
You know what I'm saying? We just ride.
Jail, James Broadnax and Demarius Dwight Cummings talk about what happened last week when they killed Matthew Butler and Stephen Swan outside a Garland recording studio.
The chopper was too big to rob somebody with, so we had one that got the pistol.
The two trading an AK-47 for a handgun before taking the dart from South Dallas to Garland.
I decided to go hit a lick, you know what I'm saying? And one of the best spots is Garland, because that's where all the rich white folks stay at, you know what I'm saying? So got caught him slipping, shit, and popped his is what it is.
Without as much as a blink, James Broadnax talks about how he took 2 lives.
Blank out, you know what I'm saying? I shot him, like stumbled back, shot the driver. He hit the ground, you know what I'm saying? But he like leaned up like he was finna try to get back up. So I shot him in the head. Then his homeboy, I shot his again, you know what I'm saying? But he was still trying to run off. But I knew he was gonna die anyway, but just to make sure, pop, shot his like, you know what I'm saying, twice in the head or whatever. Me and my kinfolks ran their pockets, you know what I'm saying? He jumped in the driver's seat, I jumped on passenger side, and we dipped out.
How much money did you guys get?
No, he had $2 in his wallet, you know what I'm saying?
Describing his life as, quote, hell, Broadnax says he has nothing to live for.
I don't want life.
You don't want life?
Pick one. If they don't, I will.
How do you feel today, Mr. Cummings?
I feel real bad. You know, I feel that was wrong what we did, you know. I know how their family felt to feel about it, you know what I'm saying?
So how do you feel now?
You know what I'm saying? I kind of regret what I did, but shit, can't change. I know you was crying though.
What do you want them to know about you?
I want them to know I didn't kill nobody. I didn't kill her husband or whatever, you know what I'm saying?
But you do admit you contributed to it?
Yeah, I contributed to it, but I didn't kill him though.
You sorry it happened, sir?
Yes, sir.
What do you want to say to the families of the 2 men you killed?
Straight up.
Broadnax was convicted and sentenced to death. His execution date, next month. Cummings received life with no parole. But now, in a new confession declaration, Demarius Cummings says it was him and not Broadnax who shot and killed the 2 men, and that because he had a criminal record and Broadnax did not, he pressed Broadnax to take the fall. In his declaration, Cummings says both he and Broadnax were high on PCP and marijuana at the time of the crime. Later, we both gave statements to the media. In James's statements, he said that he had participated in the robberies and shot the 2 victims, while in my statements, I said that while I had participated in the robberies, James had shot the 2 victims. Cummings says those statements to the media were not accurate. In fact, I was the one who shot the 2 victims, not James. This is confirmed by the fact that my DNA and not James's DNA was found on the pistol. Attorneys for James Broadnax have filed another application for what is called a post-conviction writ of habeas corpus, seeking relief from his conviction and death sentence.
Under Texas law, there are very strict rules about filing multiple habeas applications. You have to meet exceptions to file a second or third, or in this case, fourth application.
Brett Ordaway is one of only 133 board-certified criminal appellate law attorneys in Texas. He is not involved in this case, but knows it well.
And one of those exceptions is based on previously unavailable evidence. And that is primarily what they are citing here. And they are pointing to, most prominently, a declaration from a co-defendant saying that he is the one who actually pulled the trigger in this case. And then they also point to some recently unearthed juror charts from the Dallas County District Attorney's Office that they say supports that some jurors were struck for racial reasons.
In the Broadnax trial, 7 black potential jurors were struck, the judge putting 1 black person on the panel. The final makeup, 11 white jurors and 1 black juror. Now the case goes up to the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals. That 9-judge panel will decide whether the claims by the Broadnax defense satisfy the exception requirements and whether the claims have merit.
So he's really got to overcome both of those hurdles. If he does, the remedy will depend on which claim he wins on, but it could be a new trial altogether, or it could merely be a new punishment hearing where the question for the jury would be, will he be sentenced to death once again or life without parole?
James Broadnax has an execution date of April 30th. The Texas Court of Criminal Appeals expected to make a ruling before then. Now, Broadnax's cousin, co-defendant Demarius Cummings, in his statement also wrote, "The fact that James received a death sentence for these crimes while I was the one who shot the victims has been weighing on my conscience, particularly as I have become more spiritual during my years in prison."